Good evening. Welcome to the latest edition of Storm Report Live. I'm Chris Sipperly, a co-owner and general manager of Southern Vermont Storm. I am joined by my co-host Adam Sandarov, and tonight's guest is Bryan Grimes. So with that, we'll kick it off to Adam, and we'll get it rolling.
Hey Brian, how's it going this cold December night? He's muted.
Yeah.
He's muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute him. I don't know why it's stuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I'm great. It's definitely a cold one today. Out all day, but thanks for having me, Adam and Chris. And it's my second time on the Storm Report, and I guess an avid watcher of the Storm Report. Watched a few of my guys come on for the last couple of weeks, so I'm excited to be back.
Well, that's good to hear. We appreciate the guys that tune in, and I think it's always a good thing that the guys that are on the team kind of occasionally at least check in on it, because at this point there's a lot of learning that's going on about some people and what their background is and what's important to them. So it's a good experience. I'm glad to hear that you're still tuning in to see what you can kind of pick up.
Of course, yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about you and your your kind of football journey. Talk about just your high school days and can't be that far back, but talk about your high school days and being in Section 2 and being in the Albany area. Some of the best football we got around here.
Yeah, so I went to Colony High School. Graduated in 2019. It does seem so long ago because of that quick hiatus from the world that everyone had during 2020. But I was a three-year varsity guy there, two-way starter, all conference, all area linebacker, outside linebacker. Started at 7 different positions. Played football, basketball, and baseball. So it was definitely a unique experience playing at one of these smaller AA schools, going up against guys like Shen, the crosstown rival we have, as well as teams that were really good that during that time period, like Troy and Guilderland. It's definitely a unique experience. And it was something I wouldn't trade for the world. Love that place, love the coaches, love the guys that I played with. We had a little saying back then. It was silent season. All those guys know who they are, and we still talk pretty much on the regular with most of us.
Yeah, that Colony Shaker matchup is always a good one.
The Colony crosstown rival matchup has definitely been one-sided recently. Hopefully we can change that soon. They've got a good thing going on over there with Coach Sheeler. I know our guys are hungry, and just as well as we were hungry back then to get that back. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for that Colony Cup. But I will say they do call it a Colony Cup for a reason.
Right, they get the name from somewhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, small world there, Coach Greg Sheeler. I went to school with his brother Steve, actually, Steve was coaching at Missisquoi here in Vermont. So just that little small football circle.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet. Haven't had the pleasure, but Harry's a really good guy. I coached with a few guys who had guys on his roster this past couple of years, and they speak highly of him. My cousin's was actually DC over there for a little bit, as well as the D-line coach now. So I know he speaks highly of him too.
Mm-hmm. And then to kind of add a little bit of a segue, to have that experience and then to go and play, college. We kind of talk about it. The whole thing they used to have the ad. A lot 90% of people are going pro in something other than sports. You remember those kind of ads about that? But not many kids from around here go to college to play football. That kind of ends when they get out of high school for many. Just talk about being able to go to school. You talk a little bit about the recruiting process and how you picked Hartwick as a place to be able to play your football.
Yeah, so I was blessed coming out of Colony. I had a lot of interest. I was a guy that people saw on the offense side of the ball, actually, and not even a defensive player. I had quite a few FCS. I would say PWOs, prefer walk-ons, as well as some scholarship money from Division twos. Excuse me. Committed to Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire. Coach I committed to left. New coach came in. Everyone has that. Everyone knows that good old, new coach, new rules, new kids
Yeah.
getting the money. So decommitted. Ended up at Curry College, where I was blessed to play for one of my mentors, Coach Skip Bandini. I still talk to him on a regular now as a coach, and even in life.
Curry's out Beverly, Mass, I believe, if I'm right, if I'm thinking right. Curry College.
Milton, Mass, right outside
Milton,
of
Mass.
Beverly.
Okay.
Yeah, so went out there, played a little linebacker, which was a unique experience, especially at college levels. 185-pound starting Sam linebacker in the CCC, playing guys like Endicott, Western New England. So learned a lot out there. Transferred to Hartwood College, where I guess a lot of people in the area know me from there, where I two-time all conference guy there. Started at safety. Single season tackle leader for secondary, career tackle leader for secondary, as well as I guess I hold the most tackles in a game average there too for a career and a season. So I was definitely had a
What was
great
that
experience.
number? Like, what was that stat?
I had 9.8 tackles a game
Jeez.
in my career.
Nothing
Yeah,
wrong
and
with that.
Hartwick's had a pretty long history in terms of being in D3 football and so to be able to make those marks, I mean that's one thing if it's a new program like Utica. When I went there 23 years ago, it was a brand new program, and one of my teammates actually still has the record for for tackles and all that for there. But to have that kind of record with the pedigree that Hartwick has had over the years, that's a major feat.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good players come through. A lot of our All-Americans were on the offensive side of the ball. We only have had two All-Americans on the defense side of the ball. So it was definitely something that I hold tight to. And even when I go back and visit for games, they bring me up. I talk to the recruits. I chop it up with them. And I guess I get privileges that other guys don't necessarily get.
But that's also good in terms of being able to, and we'll kind of jump ahead a little bit. The fact that you are a coach at Colony, you've worked with the JVs and that, but also, football is one thing, and we talk about that all the time. Obviously, football is the greatest game in the world, and we love it, and this is why we do it. But when you can maybe help a kid make that decision to take that step to the next level, that's got to be the most fulfilling thing out there.
Yeah, so I've taken on the role as I guess a lot of programs call the recruiting coordinator. I don't really have a title for it, but I've taken on that role, helping guys get recruited. I'm excited to see a lot of the guys that I've known since they were little kids in our junior rota program start to figure out where they're going to spend the next 4 years of their career. One of them being my cousin. So I definitely took that on as a challenge. I'm also helping a couple of guys in Section 2 figure out what's next for them and their endeavors. So it's like you said, it's definitely a rewarding experience knowing that these guys around here have somebody like myself and a couple other guys who help them out with recruiting. They have a guidance. I didn't really have anybody in front of me who said, "Hey, be wary of this," right? I'd say my favorite saying to the kids, and it's I guess it's starting to be a well-known saying around Section 2. It's two positions on the field and off the field. I found out the hard way. I wish I didn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
to have somebody have somebody that can tell the kids, hey, here's the I'm trying to think of the word, but here's the real thing. Like, don't listen to this one or that one. Just pay, I'm telling you the real thing. Like, I'm not changing any lines. This is how it goes. This is the real thing. This is how it goes.
Yes. It's definitely something that kids should be worried about. Being told the right things, being told the wrong things. One thing I tell them all the time: don't commit to a coach, because that'll
Well, you've been through it.
that'll backfire. Yeah, I've been through it.
Yeah.
So
like,
talk about coming. After you get out of Hartwick, you graduate from there. You graduate from there last year.
Yeah, yep. 2023. I was a December grad, so 2022.
Okay. And talk about coming on with Colony, obviously being able to go back to your alma mater and be able to, put on that the what is it, garnet and red, or so, is it
Garnet and
I don't
gold,
even know what
baby.
they have it anymore, but
Yeah.
be able to put on those colors again and be able to help the next generation of players, the next group. Talk about a little bit about that process and how that kind of worked out for you to be able to help coach the Red Raiders.
Yeah, so I had Garnet Raiders, but I had
I knew that, and as soon as I said it, I was like, "No, Mechanicville's the Red Raiders. You guys are the Garnet Raiders."
I think they changed
I
their
know
name
that.
even. I don't think they're even that anymore.
Oh yeah, everybody's all hyped about the others.
Once a Raider, always a Raider. When I graduated, I had a couple different offers to play college football again. I think most notably at places like Rice, Coastal Carolina, just name a few. Ended up wanting to go back to Hartwick, and not knowing exactly what that looked like. Ended up getting a job to where I couldn't go back to Hartwick. So the next natural step to not playing college football again was to coach. So had a couple different offers to go coach college football, to coach high school football at different spots. Didn't really have the time for those. So I was blessed to be able to get my foot in the door. Excuse me. With Colony, and the guy who's the DC when I was there is now the head coach. Very good friends with his kids. So I had a great opportunity to where he said, "Hey, I can make this work with your schedule, if you can commit to this." And I was able to do so. Didn't interfere with my work. So I got my toes wet. Kids loved me. I love them. The town loves me. The community loves me. I love them back. So it was just a natural fit, I would say.
Sorry, I got a little bit of a cold, so sorry about that. So tell me a little bit about like coming in and working with the kids. Like you obviously, being an assistant. Are you working with just the linebackers, or what positions do you kind of work? I mean, obviously work with all the kids in some ways, shape, or form, but what's the main one you work with?
So I predominantly worked with my natural position, receivers and defensive backs. Also had a little bit of responsibility with the quarterbacks on the JV level, and with the special teams. Worked a lot with the special teams, learned a lot about the game. Never was a guy that ran down on punt. Did a little bit at college, so learned a lot about the game that way. But working with the kids I was working with, I got really lucky with the talent level that I was given, as well as the football IQ. I struggled for the first month. I feel like just like every other young coach, with dumbing down the game from how I would talk to another coach at a high level versus how I would talk to at the end of the day, a 15-year-old kid or a 16, 17-year-old kid, right? It's hard to take your brain from college football to high school football when it's in reality, it's the same game when you're playing it, but when you're thinking about it, it's very different played games. So it was a rough start for me, to build my confidence up. I think to build their confidence in me, as somebody who they can trust and they can go to, and who will lead them in the right direction. But for the most part, it was definitely a rewarding experience. I still talk to some of the kids today. I obviously helped some of them get recruited, and I guess I'm coaching an indoor flag football team
Yeah,
that I
saw
was
that.
voluntold to do
I
by
saw
some
that.
of my guys.
Voluntold.
Yeah.
I have a question. That kind of goes back to a few minutes ago when you said
Yeah.
you're basically the recruiting coordinator, you're the recruiting guy. What is your pitch to a kid that's just like on the fence? Like, what do you say to them that really you feel as though is valuable for them to hear? I think the most important part of recruiting is recruiting for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I one thing I won't do, and Chris, you're a busy guy. Adam, I know you're a busy guy. I'm a very busy person. I won't try to talk to anybody into something that they're not 100% sure about. So if guys don't want with me, uh, you have to expect more of, and this is how I live my life. You have to expect more of you than I do of you. So if you're not actively, um, contacting coaches or actively going to somebody and saying, "Hey, how do I do this?" Uh, odds are it's not going to happen, right? So one thing I say to guys is, "Hey, if this is what you want, then we have to get on this now. Whether that be a junior right now versus a senior right now, like either way, it's crunch time. But for the guys who are on the fence, it's hey, um, everyone wants to talk about, and I use this slogan, and I know a couple coaches on the call are going to take this. Everyone wants to talk about the last time you put on the pads, but no one ever talks about the last time you take them off. The last time you take them off is way harder than the last time you put them on.
No doubt about
And,
it.
and to remember that, because I remember the last time I took off my pads at Hardwick, hardest thing I've ever done. Second hardest thing I've ever done was taking off my pads at Colony. It's not easy to not know the next time you're going to be able to strap them up. And for guys that are seniors in high school, that's a reality for 99.9% of kids, which is a shame that people aren't able to carry on. But for that barely 1% that make it to college football, even semi-pro, hey, it's important that you value every snap from the moment you put them on when you're 7 years old to the moment you take them off as a senior in college or in semi-pro.
We talk about that. I mean, this year for Mount Anthony was rough because we went 0-8, so that was rough. But the last two before that, we went to the championship, so we ended up playing 12. I think 11. I think we ended up playing 11 games both years.
Yeah.
But even in that sense, it's like you've got these kids now that are going to be seniors after getting to the state championship, winning the state championship, and then going 0-8. And it's like you have at the most 11 more times to put those pads on.
Oh, you're right.
You
No, we
better
talked about-
you better appreciate every single one of them because
you're 100% right. And like to kind of like add to that, like your dad and I were talking about a player, I don't know, quite a bit the last few weeks, and you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular player, the kind of stats that he put up in a very short period of time, like you take that for granted. Like you don't realize that these kids' seasons at most, like Adam said, are 10 games. And so if you're a 4-year 4-year senior, if you're a 4-year varsity player, it's only 40 games, and that's a lot. It's not a lot.
that means you've gotten to the
more like 32.
And then I was going to say in New York, that means you've gotten to sectionals every year. That's all that means.
Exactly.
If you play 40, that's it.
It goes like that, and I don't think there's enough. Like I told my son this too. Like sometimes he's hesitant to try out for teams, but I'm like, dude, this is only 4 years of your life. Like you don't get them back. Like
yeah.
I mean, you got to want to. It's not like he doesn't want to. There's just that that anxiety that comes with it. But like it's about taking a chance and making the most out of your opportunities. At least that's how I see it.
Exactly. And to I guess piggyback off of what you just said, it's only it's 4 years of your life, but it's 40 games. We are the dumbest people on earth when it comes to football players and football coaches, right? We put in
Yeah,
Most of our time
you're right.
is not in doing the sport, right? Basketball players, for them to get better, they got to go play basketball. Baseball players, pitchers, you got to go pitch. Hitters got to go hit. We got to get in the weight room, right? We got to get in the film session to get better. We got to do all the grind in order to go have fun for maybe 10 weeks out of a year if you're lucky, right? You got to go to practice 5 days a week for one game. Math doesn't add up on that one, right? Most teams are playing twice a week and practicing once. It's football to where one our bodies can't take that, but um, we put in the most amount to get the least reward at the end of the day, and that's something you have to cherish as a youth player, as a flag player, as whatever you play. Cherish the time you have playing football because it's when you take off your pads for the last time. It's one of the moments that you will never forget, if you love the game enough.
So that's a great segue to you putting your pads back on this next year coming up here, which we're already in December, so next year is not that far away.
Yep.
Just tell me a little bit about the decision to come back, to come to play for us, and to again put the pads back on after a great career in the college.
Yeah. So I'm putting the pads back on for one reason, and one reason only. I I I struggle with not running through somebody's face. It's
Can't do
it's
that Monday
something
through
that
Friday, can you?
something that it's like a drug to me. I need to do it. And if you've seen me play, I'm not joking. It's something I enjoy doing, and I'm a better person in my day-to-day life when I have the game, right?
Yeah,
Coaching, I love coaching, but
it's not
um
the same.
being able to and I don't know how to physically dominate somebody over and over again for 3 hours. And know that you did it, tell them that you did it, and then tell them you're gonna do it again, and then do it again. I couldn't give that opportunity up. But reason why I played for the Storm, obviously college football, had to give that up with my job. So and I looked around at other spots, talked to other coaches at local semi-pro teams, other semi-pro teams in the state around. Played a little flag football. There's
Mm.
nothing like it. So obviously my dad's the head coach, and when I look for a program that I want to be a part of, I look for a couple things, right? By my track record, I don't go to the most dominant team, right? I went to Harvard College.
Mm.
They won 4 games in the last 6 years. So I look for people that are like-minded, like myself, who want to win, but who are one, good people, good fathers, good leaders in the community, who stand for something, um, and care about stuff bigger than themselves. And when you not that other programs didn't have that, but the Storm hit all those check marks with the owners, the management, the coaching staff, and all the guys that reached out for me to play, all met those qualities, and now we're just reaching, we're reaping the benefit of that with the roster we have. That honestly, if it I feel like um a lot of the guys believe, especially once we release our roster, I think everyone's going to believe that um, we're looking at that league championship as more of a semifinals for that national championship. That we really want is that natty, and I think that we're going to accomplish that this year. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, and the opportunity to play with some of the guys that
Mm.
I haven't played with
That's
in a
biggie.
while. Grew up playing with Joey. Grew up playing with Mr. Cancer, Zaquan. Grew up playing with half the team basically, and now I get to play with guys I started with. So why not end with the guys that
Yeah.
I put them on for the first time figured out how to strap up my helmet
Oh, no
and
doubt.
and figured out how to tie my shoes next to, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Because again, it's speaking with your father today. Very similar conversation took place. Like I told him, like when I started playing back in 2006, like how bad I wanted to play with my former teammates. It took like 5 years before somebody had. So it is a huge deal to play with some guys that you either wanted to play with or used to play with, because there's nothing like, let's be honest, Larry, like this isn't high school football. This isn't college football, somewhere in between. So you want to kind of have the best experience that you can. The best way to do that is do it with people that you love, you know?
And my
And have
experience in
history with.
2012, which is the only year I played, I'm not from Bennington area. I'm not from around here. You know, I live here now, obviously, but I'm not like from around here. And some of those guys have become, you know, longtime friends now. The guys that I played with that year are, you know, guys that I talk to and you know, keep up on what's going on with their lives, their families, that kind of thing. So it does really give you that sense of, you know, brotherhood, teamwork, team and all that. That's what I think the Storm is and has been for many years now.
Yep, I agree.
So, I mean, we usually try to keep these to about 20 minutes. We're actually almost at a half hour, so that's a good sign. I don't know where that half hour went.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When I get on a spiel, I go. You know what I mean?
No, don't apologize. Trust me, it's good conversation. It's valuable conversation. It's a chance for us to get to kind of know each other better, and plus whoever's watching. So, never apologize for, being genuine, because that's genuineness and honesty. Will take anybody much farther than the other way around. So
one of the things that I've learned doing these Storm reports over the last 6 months or so is that we'd have the most dominant Section 2 team ever.
Right?
Because most of our guys are Albany area guys. So we're gonna if we were Section 2 right now, we'd be dominant.
And you say that a lot of the guys that are on the team, we all played Pop Warner together.
Yes.
So, no offense, Albany High, you kind of dropped the ball on that one, but
Albany hasn't done very good for a bunch of years. They've done recently, but a little bit better. But
they might have the best coaching staff in the state, though. So they're on the come up. They're on the come up.
Yeah. Speaking of coaching staff, I think, for anybody that hasn't had the opportunity to meet the coaches yet this year, you have a great group of guys that is going to produce greatness. And if you're not ready to be great, then don't come.
Yeah. I would echo that. Obviously, head coach is my father. Yep. He expects excellence. That's what he expected our entire lives. And then Coach Gary Williams, I played for when I was a kid. He was a great coach for what we needed, and helped us all out in life as as almost like a second father to some of us. So
I definitely see
that. He knows what he's talking about too. We're just gonna go out and play our game though, and do our jobs, and do exactly what's expected of us on and off the field. And at the end of the day, we're gonna be holding up trophies and saying, let's run it back next year.
I like it.
Well, I like that idea. I'll definitely sign in that directive for sure.
Yeah.
Like I've told some guys in the past, like I'm like very, very thankful for the one championship ring we do have, because we won that in the Hail Mary. But you know what? One ring is awful lonely. So it's time for another one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if our competitors really watch this or
I don't know.
What yeah. If you do come across this, you will know who I am as soon as I walk on the field, because I'm gonna let you know. But you got some ass whoopings coming your way this year. You do. If you play us twice, count it as 2 losses. If you play us once, count it as 1 loss. We don't plan on losing or even thinking about that. We're going to every game thinking we're putting our 4 strings in. So just be aware.
All right. And on that note, I think
Hey,
And
listen,
I
man.
wish I could tell you I was joking or being too cocky. I'm not. I'm so serious.
Well, I'll take
I
note
love
of
the
that.
confidence.
Yeah. No, it's all good stuff, man. Like with that, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. It's always good to
Yeah.
talk to you and any of your teammates. So we're excited to kind of, get back at it. We'll have another meeting here. I think it's going to end up being January 12th, which is a Friday night. But we'll confirm that here pretty soon. But with that, we'll catch up with everybody next week.
Perfect. Thanks guys for having me, and you guys have Merry Christmas if I don't see you before then.
You as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir.